Let's make a Chanel bag cake. I'm adding a base layer to the cake to increase the number of servings. It's a red velvet cake with cream cheese frosting. Now working on the bag part of the cake, I've stacked it, I'm crumb coating it, and then I'm going to smooth it with this really cool bean-shaped silicone smoother. While the cakes chill, I start working on the decorations, first making the handle, measuring to make sure it will fit, and then I insert lollipop sticks to secure it on the cake. I add some stitching details, and then I start working on the logo, rolling out some black fondant using circle cutters to make the little C's for Chanel. And you could also buy a mold to make this. I just don't like to buy extra molds that I don't need. Now adding the C's onto the flap for the bag, adding more stitching details, and then I use edible silver paint to paint the C's to make them look like they're metal, covering the base tier of the cake in black fondant. And then I have this alligator leather embossing mat I'm using to create a leather look by pressing it onto the cake. Now working on the bag part of the cake, I've rolled out my fondant, I'm measuring it and cutting it. I'm using a real Chanel bag on my computer as a guide while I add the different pieces like the top flap, always stopping to adjust things and press them into shape so that it looks as real as possible, smoothing it out, now adding the quilted stitching details, then using edible glue to add on the little front flap with the Chanel logo. And one of my favorite tools to use is this little rolly wheel. I'm not exactly sure what it's called, but it adds a layer of detail that the eye picks up and makes the cake look very realistic. I finish up by rolling it along the quilted part of the cake, and now it's time to stack the two cakes, adding in my straws for support, a little bit of buttercream, now setting the bag on top, pressing in the handle, and then I brush on some pearl luster dust to give it a leather sheen, and our Chanel bag cake is all done. I hope you enjoyed. Follow for more.